Do you remember the quadratic formula? I know it's a dumb question, but can you recite the quadratic formula for me? The quadratic formula is this. And if you got that, it's either you just learned it in school or you're a weirdo. And chances are you didn't recite the quadratic formula correctly. And why is that? Why was it so hard to recite the quadratic formula correctly when you learned it? It's because A, you didn't really listen to your algebra teacher when they said it, and B, you don't really use the quadratic formula after high school. And those are the main reasons why your brain farted when I asked you to recite it, because you didn't actually learn the formula. You just remembered it for a year or so you can get like an 85 on your test. Learning isn't just watching a video or reading a book. It takes effort and action to actually learn a new skill. It isn't just this thing you read or do. It's a skill that you must develop in order to reach your goals and become the best person that you can be. Section 1, actively learning. What is learning? Let's say I have a red button, and every time you press it, I slap you. You press it again for some reason, and I slap you. You press it again, and I slap you. Eventually, it'll get to a point where you recognize a pattern that basically, when you press this button, I slap you, right? And eventually, you will just stop pressing the red button despite it being right in front of your face. So all learning truly is the same situation, different behavior. The button is still in front of you, right? You were in the same situation, but the red button is still in front of you. I'm still in front of you with my hand out. But now that you've learned what happens when you press this red button, you have a different behavior to it, which is that you just simply won't press the red button anymore. So this behavior will be brought back to light eventually, but just keep it in mind for now. So if you want to learn, you have to get knowledge first. And the best way to get knowledge is basically just read books or long form podcasts that have tons of value about your goals. How do you get better at the skills that you need in order to get better at your goals, essentially, or even achieve your goals? So if it's business, you should read books on how to sell, or videos on how to sell, or how to communicate with people, or how to advertise, or how to create a better product, how to find your niche, stuff like that. If it's like an aesthetic body, you should gain as much information you can about things like cutting, bulking, things that you need in order to get the aesthetic body, training methods. Just get as much information from books, long form podcasts, videos, maybe even courses. Maybe you buy a course about something, or maybe someone has like like how like colleges have like free courses and stuff. Maybe you can like have like a nutrition class online from Harvard or something, like a lecture from Harvard or something, and you just watch that. Just gain as much information, education, knowledge as you can. Now, you're not just going to read the book or watch the video. You aren't just going to do that and shut your brain off like you're watching like some brain rot YouTube video or like KSI or I don't know, like a TV show. You're not going to like treat it as that. You're going to treat it as like a conscious effort. And you do this by taking note on these things. Like while you're watching a video or while you're reading a book, you should take note on these things. For example, I'm gonna get a book real quick. Yikes. Anyways, this book right here has notes on top of notes. And guess what? This is the book that I understand the most. You can see all the post notes right here. These are all the notes I put on here. And this book I understand the most, right? And what you want to do with these notes is basically, first off, don't just like copy down what the book is saying, right? Put these notes in your own words, right? And also make sure that they're the most important concepts or things about like that chapter, or you just found something that you see like that you think is important and you just write it down. As you can see, I don't have I have a lot of notes, but I don't have a note on like every single page. I have notes on pages that I deem as important. And guess what happens? I know this is the book that I understand the most. And coincidentally, it's the book that I like basically put notes and basically, was the most conscious of trying to understand the most. Right? So if you really want to understand something, you don't just watch it like it's a video or a TV show. You actually put effort in by making notes of the most important things in your own words. Because once you're more active and conscious while learning, this will allow you to retain more information about these things, and therefore you can actually understand the concepts. Because when you're just shutting your brain off, you're not really understanding, you're just watching to watch. But when you start watching or reading to understand rather than just watching to watch or reading just to read, right, you actually gain some value out of it. Because if you're just, watching to watch or reading to read, you're wasting your time, and we don't want to waste our time, right? For example, let's take the button example. Every time you press the button and got slapped, you took a note of it, whether you were conscious or subconscious, right? You basically took note of it. You took note of the cause and effect relationship. You basically understood that when you press this button, you get slapped. And this causes you to retain that information. When you take note of it, you retain that information. And this retention will allow you to do the next step in the learning process. Section 2, actionally learning. You see what I did there? Actionally instead of actually. Okay, anyways. But I want you to remember this one sentence. This one sentence is the most important sentence. Learning is only learning if there's action tied to it. I'm going to repeat this again because this is so important. Learning is only learning if there's action tied to it. If there's no action tied to it, you're just reading or watching a video or going to school or doing a lecture for the shits and giggles. If I have all the knowledge in the world about my goal, but I'm not using it, I'm not really learning, point blank, period. For example, with the button, I know you're getting slapped a lot, but just bear with me. If you recognize the cause and effect relationship, you basically learned or understand the fact that every time you press the button, you get slapped. You know that. But you still press the button. Are you really learning? Maybe you're a masochist and you like getting slapped, who knows? But if you continue doing the same old, are you actually learning? For example, if a person from a third-person perspective saw you and they understood the fact that every time you press this button, you get slapped, and they see that you're still pressing the button, would they think that you learned your lesson? Would they think that you know, the basically cause and effect relationship? They wouldn't. You want to know why? Because you're doing the same shit. You're doing the same shit you were doing on the first time when you didn't know what would happen. So you can't really say that just because you have the knowledge that you learned. If you don't actually apply this knowledge, you haven't really learned. And it's just that simple. It's just in your head for no reason. And a lot of people are like this. They have all the knowledge. They read all the books. They are they bought many courses or completed all these courses, watched all these videos, watched all of Andrew Huberman's videos or whatever, all the podcasts in the world, all the Alex Hormozy videos, all the Hamza videos. But guess what? They still do the same shit that they've been doing before watching, before reading, before doing those courses. So are they really learning? No, right? If you don't apply the knowledge that you have in here, you're not really learning. This is the missing piece. Actually changing your behavior and applying the things you learned in the book or video to reality. Simply, whenever you read a book or watch a video, try and apply these things the book or video said to do. If the book says to greet yourself like this on sales calls, next sales call that you do that. You greet yourself like that, exactly like that. If a video said to make your thumbnails look like this, try that and see if that works. If a book said to follow this diet for health, try that and see if it works. It's all about experimentation, right? You have the knowledge, you experiment with that knowledge. If it works, keep it. If it doesn't, tweak it. And that's basically it, right? It's applying the knowledge to see if it works for you and tweaking it so it eventually does work for you. That's literally all learning is. You actively listening by reading books, watching videos, watching courses or lectures on your topic and the skills that you need to actually achieve your goals, and taking notes on the content within these books, courses, videos, or whatever, and actually applying them to your reality to see if they work. And if they work, you keep them. And if they don't really work, you can tweak them or try something else. And then the process basically just repeats until you finally find things that work, a system that works. It's that simple. And that's why this video is so short, because honestly, after what I just said, there's not much else I can say about this topic. That's how easy learning is. right? So I want you to make a vow that you're going to do the best you can to take notes and actively learn and actually apply the notes and actually apply the knowledge that you have in these books and actually apply the knowledge that you like find in the videos, the podcasts, and courses, and actually make an effort to learn the skill of learning, basically. That's all I have for you for today. I wish you luck on your journey, and peace.